Who's here? Is it just me? How do you share your screen? Is it even possible? Can't say if that's just me. Hi, hi, hi. Hello. Hi. Come in. So I thought I'd like double up and do my first ever YouTube live stream. Um, but it's proving difficult. Yeah, I don't know how to screen share because I thought what I've done. So this is my handbook that I've published today. End Game: Navigating the End of Professional Sport. It's for professional athletes to kind of navigate their career transitions. It's short. It's like 100-ish pages, and yeah, I've had it kind of sat around for a long time. Thank you, Sarah. That's really kind of you. Thank you, Becca. Um, yeah, cheers. Yay, aren't you also nice? This is great. I've had a really good day actually. It's been long because I've been, doing final kind of changes, and I changed the cover very slightly because I did it myself, and I was getting it on Amazon and all the rest. So, and I had to write my newsletter. So it's like been quite a long day. Um, no, I think someone was on my YouTube, but they've gone. So I'm on my YouTube, um, which I was kind of hoping to sort of see if people could go and find me on there as well, because I wanted to screen share and like explain a bit of like how you do this stuff. I thought that might be quite interesting, and I'd show you like the software I use and yeah, thank you, H. Yeah, I'd show you like software, show behind the scenes, like show you kind of how like it works like on the back end with Amazon and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if I think like I might just be too lame to be able to do it with my YouTube. Yeah, I mean, like I'd really like to be able to like grow my YouTube and do some other stuff, but I just haven't done it yet, you know? So it's one of those where you're just not quite like I'm just not as like clued up with it as I would be like with something else. Trying to see if anyone knows anything about YouTube, that'd be super nice. I can't see. I looked it up and it said it would like be all right to do like screen share and stuff like that. But yeah, that link tells you how to screen share. What link? What link? Sarah. So I looked it up earlier, but it looked like it was quite simple. But now I'm on there, I can't see it. So it's like maybe I'll just put it in the chat here. Help me screen share. I've got two people on here right now. Is that some of you guys? But yeah, so end game is like I used to work for a startup. I used to be a pro athlete, like not like a top one. But I was a road player. I finished up in France. That was the subject of my first book, which is a memoir. And I did work for a startup that help athletes make this transition. So they help athletes go from like whatever their sporting career is to something else. Um, then yeah. So I was head of content for them, and I made a lot of content. I interviewed a lot of athletes, but I didn't. There was a lot of stuff that was like relating to me, or that were like my opinions, and so they weren't like really appropriate for my employer. Yeah, I was a rugby player, Chelsea. Um, yeah, they were. It wasn't really like relevant or appropriate for work, but I thought it was quite good. And there's a few kind of frameworks and ways of thinking. And now I've been out of rugby quite a long time. Um, I feel like I'm in a slightly better place to be sharing it. And while it's not really advice. It's more kind of outlining the various common problems that athletes face, giving people questions to ask themselves, and to try and get ahead of those problems themselves. I think that's the other thing. Do you play for a rugby team now, even casually? I do not. I just play the odd bit of touch rugby, particularly in the summer, which is super fun. I don't know what's the defense. Steve Kavanagh. Is that related to what we're talking about? No. Eddie Flynn used to be a con artist. This sounds great. Anything with a character called Volchak just gives me OC flashbacks. I don't know if any of you used to watch the OC. With one Restream account, you can go live on multiple channels simultaneously. What's a Restream? What's a Restream? NFL players in the US can use a program like that. Exactly. Yeah, there's we had some conversations with guys who'd been like kind of in college football or got to the sort of fringes of the NFL, but the dropout rate is obviously monstrous. Yeah, like when to just stop playing already. So one of my friends, Nadia, Jeff Griffiths, he was a teammate of mine, and he actually quite early was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be the player I wanted to be," So he got ahead of it and has made a real success of his like next career already. He runs a digital agency in Shoreditch. Trent Alexander-Arnold, not Armstrong, yeah, is doing a lot. Yeah, he's just started something, hasn't he, Connor? So he's someone me and Jeff think about talking to. People who have been incarcerated. I know there are programs already. Yeah, exactly. I think this YouTube thing, I mean, it's not going very well, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do with this, and what I'd really appreciate, it's £1 as an ebook, and it's in Kindle Unlimited already, but from midnight, and I think it's Pacific time, so that's like 7 hours behind us here in the UK. I'm basically going to make it free tomorrow on Friday, and just try and get as many downloads as possible. So even if you're not that interested in the topic, if you want to help me out, I'd really appreciate a download. That'd be very cool. And it's free, so you could just get it and totally ignore it. Get it on Kindle Unlimited, and then get it tomorrow for free, and that'd be too. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Now I think Kindle Unlimited is by Pages Red, so tomorrow when it's free, if you don't want to spend £1, which I appreciate, that would be really cool. But I'm really pleased with it. I got some test readers to look at it, like five people, I think, maybe, and a couple more like cast their eyes over it. And I did the final kind of updates to it today. And and it was cool. I think it's a lot better, and I was quite pleased with some of the writing. And if you want, I'll download it. Yay, so proud. Thank you. I only have $. Yeah, well, you can spend $0 tomorrow. So no excuse. Great topic. It's a hard thing for them to deal with. Yeah. And I think the kind of common impression is that every athlete is like a mega star with loads of money, and so they don't really like deserve any sympathy. And I think for those guys, and the odd girl now, they've got like existential questions to answer. But actually, most pro athletes, have barely made any money. And then the other side of it is they've sort of sacrificed those early years where you start a career, and then you end up going into a workforce when you're like 30 maybe, or even if you're like in your 20s, it's still a bit embarrassing to kind of come in like a graduate when you're like 25, 26, and other people are 20. It's quite weird. And if you have been earning like a middling amount of money that's quite good, but not like spectacular, your income's going to drop because you're going to have to go back to the start of something else. So it's a bit Crimea River, but I think it's quite an interesting question. It's something I've had to face myself. It's something a lot of my friends have had to face. So I'm really pleased to kind of be able to do something that I think is like, it could be helpful, really. That's what inspired me. My own YouTube mini tool. YouTube download dot mini tool. YouTube download dot mini tool. Cool. Can you stream that though? Oh, don't worry. I'll look at that another time. My boss was a pro soccer player. Going to send her. Yeah, please do. We'll download tomorrow and have a read. Yeah, that'd be so cool. The other thing that I'm doing with it as well is that I'm kind of keeping it like I'm going to keep it as an ebook for a bit. And that is partly so I can update it. So if there's things that are missing or things that people would, think could be expanded upon, there's a couple of things I know that could be expanded upon. Then let me know, and I can go back in and update it. So I think that's something I was keen to do with this as well, was to make it like more of a fluid, like not finished project, which helped me kind of in the end like press go and get it out there today. That there are other ways people do that. Maybe they write things on Substack, or Peter Levels, who runs something called Nomad List. He's got a book that you pay for access to once, and then he updates it like periodically when he like learns something else. It's kind of based on startups and stuff like that. But I was going to say, so I thought with this, it could almost like be a bit of a store of common knowledge as well. And the other thing is the cover. I literally did it myself on Canva, and I would love to talk to like a book cover designer, preferably like an athlete of some description. Like ideally, I'd love to like pay somebody who, one of my ilk to do it. There are people I know who do like a very good job, but in an ideal world, I'd love to have, like an athlete kind of contribute to it like that as well. It'd be super cool. That's a lot about that. Majority aren't, plus many have severe injuries. Yes, they do. Some of them are severely bored and frustrated, like I was. Side note, check out Limbic. Cool. Love the name. Thank you. Some people don't see athletes as real people with feelings. I think that's true. I remember my friend was captain of the team, the first professional contractor, and I didn't know him so well then, but he'd come back from quite a bad injury, and he wasn't playing very well, and he had supporters of the team like abusing him on his way off the pitch, and you're just like, it's horrible. I can't believe anyone would behave like that. It's free tomorrow on Amazon. I was watching the Conor McGregor series, The Mental Battles You Go To. I don't really like Conor McGregor very much. It was obviously like a kind of wild phenomenon while he lasted. He doesn't seem necessarily like a sort of particularly satisfied person. I would be quite interested in watching a bit of the documentary. But I think the fight sports are particularly odd in terms of what they ask of you. He's done very well with his own brands and all that sort of stuff. So he's really kind of nailed it, and he really had a kind of clear idea of his own value as a brand, which is another thing that the fight sports can obviously give you. Remind us tomorrow to download. I will. It's eye-opening. Can't wait to read. Love the name. I'm good at finding typos. I'm relatively hopeful there aren't many typos in this, but those could be famous last words. Maybe add a finish line or the flag logo. Yes, I agree. I think there needs to be something sporty on it. That'd be quite cool. Let's see. So, would you like to hear a little bit from it? Like, is there sort of? I was hoping to do some behind the scenes, like I said, but no. A rugby ball, yes. Summer, you better remember me, Ben. How could I possibly forget that harrowing introduction that we had? Congratulations on the book. Thank you. Read to us. Read. Yes. Okay. Sure. I have actually read some of this on live before. Maybe I'll find one of the newer. Those bits are a little bit dry. Okay. There's a section about what you can take with you and what you could let go. So, yeah. Being overly competitive. Most people like to win at something. Athletes get to try and win for their job. One athlete told me they played for the challenge and physical confrontation of competition, saying it felt like doing your GCSEs naked in front of thousands of people, each to their own. Is what you wanted from sport available elsewhere? If you liked competition, you could play computer games online or do pub quizzes or enter endurance events. If you like confrontation, perhaps you could take up martial arts or chess. Then perhaps what you got from sport isn't something you should keep hold of. If you like proving your physical dominance, then do you still need to do that? Is it something that really serves you and makes you happy? Or is it better that you let it go? Do you do audios? Yes, I do the odd audios. I will record this at some point. Mabi Rulez, hello. What's your favorite part of the book? Could you read? Oh, yeah, I'll read a little bit. Sorry, Summer. I won't do it again. Do you want to know if there are typos? Yes, you can tell me if there are typos. Send me on Instagram if you find any, or you can email me. I don't mind. Have you read Gentleman in Moscow? Yes, I love it. Do you have a screen sharing application on your laptop? I do not. I kind of thought it was like integrated in the YouTube thing, but apparently not. I might just can the YouTube. Oh no, there's 4 people. Hey guys. I'll like wave at them now. This is nice. Maybe if I could even type something in the chat that the TikTok people can't see. That TikTok people. Won't get the image of you smirking. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, it's not Pride and Prejudice. I find myself smirking all the time when I'm reading that one. Here we go. Trying to find the bits I added. I was really pleased with those. Where have they gone? Okay. There's an example that I include where someone I know is a rugby player who became an interior designer. One guy I know did his second qualification while playing, supplementing his sports degree by retraining as an interior designer. After years of playing professionally, he began to think seriously about his exit route. And while he'd done a first degree to facilitate his rugby training, his next degree was one he picked with a career firmly in mind. Through a love of streetwear and sneaker culture, he developed a broader interest in design, which led him to interiors. During his course and alongside playing rugby, he began earning money as a freelance interior designer, getting commissions through leveraging his network and various freelance platforms. When rugby ends, he'll already be years into a new career which he can pursue further or choose to augment with something else. I think this is such an impressive way to go about your athletic career transition and will only stand you in good stead later. Would you want to hire someone who built a second career while they were training full time as a professional athlete? I think you would. There's no substitute for experience. I really want to stress how important trying things out is. I have a friend who's a business owner. He and his wife run a flower farm, sourcing and growing beautiful flowers which they make into bouquets and deliver by post. Loads of people want to work there because of what the business looks like to customers on social media. What they don't know is how it feels to make 50 identical bouquets of flowers in a day, or what it's like to work in a muddy field in November, or how much of the important work is done on a spreadsheet. They have to find these things out for themselves, and when they do, a few of them realize that floristry isn't for them. Sometimes what you think the job isn't the job at all. Running your own cafe involves staying on top of the cleaning, while being a consultant means making a lot of slide decks. A glamorous office might be glamorous because employees are in there for 12 hours each day. Trying to find my It's easy to think that your life is over once you finish playing sport. But as Paul John alluded to above, it's just a patch in the quilt of your life. You have years and years left to live. While you might think that you can't do anything as fun or worthwhile again, you'd be wrong. Pursuing a sporting career is like climbing a mountain. There's always further to go until you're at the peak, and you can't stay long. The air is thin, and time is short. Whoever you are and however high your peak is, you'll always need to come back down. Then you have to decide if you want to climb another mountain. One problem athletes have is that every other mountain feels less exciting, more of a hill than a mountain, and more of a pedestrian walk than a daredevil ascent, one where the peak isn't as impressive and the view isn't as good. But does that have to be true? Being the greatest athlete in the world is an amazing feat. But what other careers require similar climbs? You could say that being the world's biggest film star is one, and you could say that being the President of the United States is another. Jimmy Carter did not get re-elected. Most former presidents do speeches, erect libraries, or more recently, start social networks and podcasts. Carter did something different. After leaving office, Jimmy Carter founded the Carter Center for Peace with his wife Rosalind, aiming to improve the quality of life for people around the world. This work led to Carter being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Even in their 90s, the Carters act as the faces for Habitat for Humanity, working to procure housing for people who can't afford it. History will not judge him as a great president due to events during his tenure, but his post-presidential life is widely regarded as the greatest success of any US president. The pinnacle of Jimmy Carter's success came after leaving the biggest job in the world. You'd think that being the most powerful person in the world would leave you with nowhere to go. But Jimmy Carter arguably did more for the world when he wasn't in command of part of it. Then there's Paul Newman. Paul Newman was the biggest actor in the world, the Hollywood star of his era. However, his most important work was creating Newman's Sauces, with all profits being donated to charities in the US. The venture has been so successful that Newman once said, "The embarrassing thing is that my salad dressing is outgrossing my films." In total, Newman donated $730 million to various charities. Even after passing in 2008, his foundation continues its work, including running family camps for children with terminal diseases. These camps are the largest family camps in the world, providing children with a week of respite from their treatment and daily circumstances, free of charge. At one camp, a little girl took Newman's hand and said, "This is the week I wait for all year." All a film star, fated by audiences all over the world, could think was, what could be greater applause than that? Your life after sport doesn't have to be a pale shadow of your life within it. If you want to, you can climb a second mountain. Identity lags behind. Identity lags reality by 1 to 2 years. There's a lot of psychological fallout from a rapid change in status. Mark Manson. The change in your life, from professional sport to the real world, is going to take some time. Do you remember when you first became a pro? How did that feel? Did you feel like a pro right away? Or did it take time for you to come to terms with it? Did you ever feel comfortable with your status? It'll be the same this way round. The person the world sees and the person you see might be quite different. My girlfriend said 1 year after I left rugby that I'd become quite a different person. She didn't say for better or for worse, but that she'd seen it happen. I hadn't taken the time to really think about it, but she was right. Who you think you are will need time to catch up to who you are now. And that's fine. The point is that this is going to be a process, one that may take longer than you'd like. Give yourself some time and space to let it happen. Cool, thank you. Where else did I add to? Will this be translated? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I can't do it. If there's an AI that could do it, that'd be pretty sweet. Well, hello. Hello. Oh, hang on, it was near the end. Can translate it to Dutch. Yeah, that would be quite fun. Oi. Can help with Spanish. Look, everyone's here. Everyone's going to go for it. Maybe I'm going global. Je ne sais pas quoi dire d'autre que c'est bien raconté. Intéressant, bravo. Merci, Chilou, Clilou. Oui, je ne suis pas sûr si je peux faire une traduction parce que j'ai pas parlé français depuis longtemps et en même temps, je ne suis pas aussi fort quand j'écris, mais je peux essayer, mais ouais, ça va être difficile. Hein. For Australian translation, just say can't. Drop in a few can't. Drop in can't. What else did I do? I actually dropped a tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow quote in here today because I was like, I love tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. So at the end, one of the last ones is called Your Future. What much of this comes down to is why you do anything in life. Why were you an athlete? What drove you to compete? What will drive you now you can't? The end of an athletic career could be sad and painful. It probably will be these things. But it can also be an amazing opportunity to spend more time with your friends and family and to start creating an amazing rest of your life. There are plenty of problems that affect athletes once they leave their chosen game. But while it's important to be aware of them in order to prepare for them, it's also important to remain upbeat and positive about the new possibilities for your life. We've seen in this book that you could go on to do something more spectacular, more exciting, and more worthwhile than playing sport. It's perfectly possible. I came to realize later on in my career that sport was a game of dissatisfaction. It relies on you being constantly unhappy with where you are and with what you've done. There's always another game to play, another opponent to beat, and another point to prove to yourself and everyone else. It's a frame of mind that breeds excellence and relentlessness, but it doesn't necessarily breed happiness. Your life doesn't have to be like that. Your career should serve your life, not the other way around. You no longer have to define yourself by what you do for work, but have it support you in what you want from your life. You may miss the winning, but actually, if you speak to other athletes, what they miss is usually the camaraderie, the effort they made, and the feeling of alignment. These are all things you can still experience. You'll just have to find them for yourself rather than have them handed to you. I love this quote from Gabrielle Zevin's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow about life's changing seasons. It isn't a sadness, but a joy that we don't do the same things for the length of our lives. Sport is but one season of our life, one part of our story. Then it goes into talking about Carl Jung's 4 stages of life. Good, we've got Scottish translation. So far, what have we got? We've got Dutch. Didn't actually get a French offer. Dutch, Spanish, Scottish, Australian. There's 4. You speak fluent Australia. Australia. So sorry, I don't know your background. How come you left sport? I just had enough, really. I think I wasn't successful enough to justify carrying on, and I thought it was a good time to stop before I got hurt or before I got too old to change career easily. So I was actually quite happy to stop, even if I didn't get to stop in the manner that I would have liked. I have a friend who played in the WNBA. She sells life insurance, makes more money. Yeah, I think that's quite common. Is I've heard about people in tech sales and they clean up, and I'm just like, am I an idiot for not doing that? Because people just selling software and getting huge commission. Soldiers miss the same thing, apparently, the camaraderie in their team. They do. There's an amazing book that I recommend a lot called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. And he talks about soldiers because he was a soldier. But his thing is that hardship breeds togetherness. And sport is obviously an artificial version of that. But the examples are things like the Blitz. And if you talked about the early lockdowns that we've had more recently, where everyone was like, oh my God, what if people disobey or they do this? But actually in hard times, people do pull together and they feel more of a sense of collective responsibility. When it was the Blitz during the war, they were worried that people would disobey the blackouts and the curfews and all the rest of it, but everyone was super compliant and really helpful to each other. It's a really good book. Danish, yes. French, yes. See it on Amazon. Yes. What is WNBA? Women's NBA. Thanks. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do to leave something you love so dearly. Yes, I think that's true. But I do think I was loving it less and less. I think it's fair to say. She uses her professional. Radom cowboy. She uses her professional background as her leverage, and it works every time. Yeah, nice. Can do Afrikaans. Yeah, I can speak No, I can't. But I can say lekker, which is obviously the one thing I know. All right. I'm going to go off here now, off the YouTube. So cheers. Thank you for my recommendations.